A local company may be on its way to revenue of $1 billion or more. It's a distinction few local companies hold, only 9 in fact. On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, Cincinnati's billion-dollar duo, Paycor CEO Bob Coughlin and new president Stacey Browning, have the fast-growing company on track to double in size every 3 years. Paycor is a payroll and human resources services provider based in Norwood. Last fiscal year, Paycor posted revenue of $209 million, ranking it among the region's 100 largest private companies and marking the 17th consecutive year of growth. Founder Coughlin says there's no stopping now.
It's a changing world right now, and if you want to compete in our industry and compete effectively in the long term, and we really are very focused on the long term, then we need to invest heavily in where our products are going to evolve to over the next 5 years.
Paycor has more than 32,000 clients covering all 50 states, and it employs more than 1,400 people with plans to add about 1,000 employees in the next 5 years. To talk about Paycor's rise and ambitious future plans, reporter Tom Demeropoulos joins Business Courier editor Rob Dahlmeyer in the studio. Tom and Rob.
Thank you, Peg. Tom, thanks for being here. Coughlin's a really interesting guy, the CEO and founder of Paycor. Usually we see companies that get to a certain size and they either get sold or they run into problems, because it's a very different thing running a giant company than it is a startup. But Bob Coughlin seemed to have been able to keep growing this company. What are some of the reasons, or what are some of the ways that he has built this company that makes this growth sustainable?
Yeah, a couple of things that Bob's done is he's really surrounded himself with an executive team that is dynamic. It's talent that's grown up within the company, and because of the way that Bob treats people, they're very loyal to him and the company. And he's also brought in some outside expertise to help in areas where he needs to fill kind of that talent gap. And one of the things that's great about Bob is he lets his employees kind of have a little bit of free reign. One of the best descriptions of Bob is that he's an idea factory. So he has all these great ideas, and he has executives like Stacey Browning, the new president, who take those ideas and run with them. So that's really helped the company continue on this growth path. So
it may seem weird at first when you talk about a company that's got $200 million in revenue, and we're talking here on the cover about $1 billion, but their growth trajectory and their goals really do target to $1 billion. But talk a little bit about the idea of maybe an initial public offering or an IPO. This is Paycor has been rumored for years to be a good candidate for something like that. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so that's something they really don't talk a lot about, but I feel like the company's setting itself up for the potential of doing that. One of the things they did was bring in a new CFO who had already taken a larger company public, so they have that expertise, they know how to do it. Then one thing that Bob really wants to see is he wants to actually see their pace of growth accelerate. He wants them to be, growing at a much faster pace before potentially going to the market and with an IPO.
Well, let's talk finally about that growth. So they've only been in their new headquarters for how long?
Not long. 2014.
2014, so 3 years, but they're already bursting at the seams, right? I mean, what's their future at their fancy new headquarters in Norwood?
Yeah, so the company, when they moved in, they thought they had about 5 years of growth in that space before they'd have to look beyond the walls there. It took 2. They've already leased additional space for about 300 employees because they grew so fast. So now the company's kind of in this space where they're looking to see what do we want to do long term. They have an incentive kind of waiting for them from the state of Ohio to help keep them in the region. But now they need to determine what's best for the company long term. What does that space look like? Is it on their current campus? Where do they go? So that's still to be determined, something to keep an eye on.
Well, this was a great story that Tom's got in this week's paper. We'll have a lot more on Paycor in the months and years ahead. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Rob.
And back to you.
Thanks, gentlemen. A great look at a fascinating company.